Am I the asshole for telling my dad's mistress that she should kill herself? It's been about 2 years since my parents divorced after I discovered that my dad was cheating on my mom. My computer had stopped working, so I had to use my dad's for a while. When I tried to use WhatsApp on his computer, I saw that he also had WhatsApp installed. That's when I noticed the messages with a woman named Lily. The messages were very sexually explicit, with sexting and videos exchanged between them. I was furious with my dad when I found out. I still am, to be honest. I showed the evidence to my older sister Sarah, who's 19, and my younger brother Jack, who's 15. We decided to confront our dad about the affair with our mom present. When we told Mom, saying she was angry would be a huge understatement. She and Dad started arguing intensely, saying terrible things to each other. It ended with Mom kicking Dad out of the house. He went to stay with our grandparents. The divorce that followed was a complete mess. Unfortunately, since my dad earns more money than my mom, he ended up getting full custody of me and Jack. After losing custody, my mom fell into a deep depression. My sister tried her best to help Mom cope with everything, but Mom still struggles a lot. Ever since the divorce, my brother and I have been living with Dad and Lily. It's been absolute hell on earth. They keep trying to make us do family activities and spend time together, but Jack and I have made our feelings about the situation very clear. They don't make us feel bad directly, but they just won't stop trying to force this new family on us. What really makes my blood boil is how well my dad's side of the family treats Lily. They all know that she's the other woman who broke up my parents' marriage, but they don't seem to care at all. They treat her as if she didn't just barge into our lives and ruin everything, acting like she's no different than my mom, who was married to my dad for 25 years. It's sickening. The final straw happened when we were at my grandparents' house for a big family dinner with my dad's siblings and their kids. The whole extended family was there at my grandparents' house. Uncles, aunts, cousins, everyone. Jack and I were sitting quietly in the corner of the room while everyone else was chatting away with Lily, as if she were part of the family. At one point, Lily had the nerve to come over to us and suggest that we should try to be more social, since we don't get to see the whole family together that often. I completely lost it on her. "Who the hell do you think you are, telling us what we should or shouldn't do?" I snapped at her. "Stay in your own damn corner and we'll stay in ours." My brother tried to calm me down, but it was too late. My dad overheard and started arguing with me, saying that I shouldn't be so mean to Lily. He actually had the gall to say that he knows they screwed up, but they're trying their best to make things right. I couldn't believe it. I told him that there's absolutely nothing they could ever do to fix this situation since they already destroyed our family. Dad then mentioned that he's been paying for Mom's therapy sessions for the past 6 months because he feels guilty. I mean, I guess that's something, but it doesn't change what he did. And then, as if on cue, Lily chimes in and says that maybe I should just go live with my mom instead. I'm pretty sure my next comment crossed the line, but at that moment, I didn't care. "Yeah? Well, maybe you should go cut your wrists. Let's see if it works this time," I said to her coldly. I knew about the scars on Lily's wrists. She had once mentioned that she attempted suicide back when she was in her 30s. The whole room fell dead silent. I glanced at my brother and he gave me a look, not quite disapproving, but more like, "Dude, that was way too far." Lily burst into tears and ran off to the bathroom with my dad chasing after her. One of my uncles calmly pointed out that what I said was a real asshole thing to say. I replied, "I know. That's why I said it. I don't give a crap. Screw you." I grabbed my stuff and told them to let my dad know I was going to stay at my mom's house. As I was leaving, the same uncle who called me an asshole said that he understands I'm hurt by my dad's cheating, but that my dad still cares about us and even Lily cares in her own way. His words started to make me feel a bit guilty about what I had said to Lily. Even my brother agreed that while he's angry with her too, I definitely crossed a line this time. I haven't talked to my mom or sister about what happened yet. Looking back, I'm starting to wonder, was I the asshole here? The family dinner at my grandparents' house was supposed to be a nice gathering, but for me and my brother, it was just another reminder of how much things had changed. As we sat in the corner, watching everyone interact with Lily as if she was a long-lost family member, my anger kept building up inside me. I couldn't understand how they could all be so accepting of her, knowing full well that she was the reason my parents' marriage fell apart. It was like they had completely forgotten about my mom and the 25 years she spent as part of this family. When Lily had the audacity to come over and suggest that we should be more social, something inside me snapped. I couldn't hold back anymore. I lashed out at her, telling her to stay in her own part of the room and leave us alone. My outburst caught everyone's attention, and my dad stepped in, trying to defend Lily. He said that he knew they had messed up, but that they were trying their best to make things right. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. How could he think that anything they did would ever make up for the pain they caused? I reminded him of the hell that Jack and I had been through since moving in with him and Lily. I told him that no matter how many family activities they planned or how much they tried to include us, it would never erase the fact that they had destroyed our family. My dad then mentioned that he had been paying for Mom's therapy sessions out of guilt, as if that somehow made things better. I scoffed at the idea, knowing that no amount of money could heal the wounds they had inflicted. That's when Lily chimed in, suggesting that maybe I should go live with my mom instead. Her words felt like a slap in the face. How dare she try to dictate where I should live after everything she had done? I couldn't control myself any longer. I said something that I knew would hurt her, something that I would come to regret later. I brought up her past suicide attempt and the scars on her wrists, telling her to go cut herself and see if it worked this time. The room fell silent. I could feel everyone's eyes on me, judging me for my cruel words. My brother gave me a look that said I had gone too far, but at that moment I didn't care. I was too consumed by my own pain and anger to consider the consequences of my actions. As Lily ran off to the bathroom in tears, with my dad following close behind, I knew I had crossed a line, but I was too stubborn to admit it. When my uncle called me out for being an asshole, I just shrugged it off, telling him that I didn't give a damn. I grabbed my things and stormed out, telling them to let my dad know I was going to stay at my mom's. But as I left, my uncle's words began to sink in. He said that despite everything, my dad still cared about us, and even Lily cared in her own way. Those words stuck with me, and as I walked away from the house, I couldn't shake the feeling of guilt that had started to creep in. Maybe I had taken things too far this time. Maybe, just maybe, I was the one in the wrong. As I walked away from my grandparents' house, my mind was reeling from the events that had just transpired. I couldn't get my uncle's words out of my head, and the guilt I felt for what I had said to Lily was starting to eat away at me. I kept replaying the moment in my mind, seeing the hurt and shock on Lily's face as I threw her past suicide attempt in her face. I knew that I had crossed a line, but in the heat of the moment I hadn't cared. All I wanted was to make her feel a fraction of the pain that she had caused me and my family. But now, as I walked alone in the cool night air, I began to question my actions. Was I really justified in saying something so cruel, even if Lily had played a part in destroying my family? Did stooping to that level make me any better than her? I thought about my brother's reaction, the way he had silently conveyed that I had gone too far. Jack had always been the more level-headed one between us, and if even he thought I had crossed a line, then maybe I really had. As I approached my mom's house, I hesitated. I hadn't told her or my sister about the argument at the family dinner, and I wasn't sure if I was ready to face their reactions. Would they understand why I had lashed out? Or would they be disappointed in me for letting my anger get the best of me? I took a deep breath and knocked on the door, bracing myself for whatever was to come. When my mom answered, I could see the concern in her eyes. She could always tell when something was bothering me, and I knew that I wouldn't be able to hide what had happened for long. As I stepped inside, I felt the weight of my actions bearing down on me. I knew that I would have to face the consequences of what I had said, not just with my family, but with myself as well. I had always prided myself on being better than my dad and Lily, on not stooping to their level. But now I wasn't so sure. I sat down with my mom and sister and began to tell them everything that had happened. I didn't hold back. Even when I got to the part about what I had said to Lily, I could see the shock and disappointment on their faces, but I also saw something else. Understanding. They knew how much pain I was in, how much I had been through since the divorce. They didn't condone what I had said, but they understood why I had lashed out. And as we talked through everything, I began to realize that maybe, just maybe, I needed to find a way to let go of some of my anger and hurt. It wasn't going to be easy, and I knew that I had a long road ahead of me. But for the first time in a long time, I felt like I had a support system that understood what I was going through, and maybe with their help I could start to heal and move forward. The conversation with my mom and sister lasted late into the night. They listened patiently as I poured out all the pain, anger, and frustration that had been building up inside me since the divorce. It felt like a weight was slowly lifting off my chest, but at the same time, the guilt over what I had said to Lily continued to gnaw at me. My sister, always the wise one, pointed out that while my anger was understandable, lashing out at Lily in such a personal and hurtful way wasn't the answer. She reminded me that holding on to this anger would only continue to hurt me in the long run, and that I needed to find a way to start healing and moving forward. Mom, with tears in her eyes, told me that she understood my pain better than anyone. She had been deeply hurt by my father's betrayal, but she also recognized that carrying around that pain and anger was poisoning her own life. She was working hard in therapy to learn how to let go and find peace, and she encouraged me to consider doing the same. Their words struck a chord within me. I knew they were right. But the idea of letting go of my anger felt like I was somehow betraying myself and the pain I had endured. I had held on to it for so long that it had become a part of me, and the thought of releasing it was scary. Over the next few days, I did a lot of soul-searching. I thought about the person I wanted to be and the kind of life I wanted to lead. I knew that I didn't want to be consumed by bitterness and resentment forever, but I also knew that forgiveness wouldn't come easily. I decided to start small. I apologized to my brother for putting him in an uncomfortable position at the family dinner and for not considering his feelings. He accepted my apology and reiterated that while he understood my anger, he was glad I recognized that I had crossed a line. The next step was harder. I knew I needed to apologize to Lily for what I had said, but the thought of facing her filled me with dread. I didn't know if I was ready to forgive her, but I knew that I needed to take responsibility for my own actions. I asked my dad if I could speak with Lily privately. When we sat down together, I took a deep breath and apologized for my hurtful comment. I told her that while I was still struggling to come to terms with everything that had happened, I recognized that what I said was wrong and deeply personal. Lily, to my surprise, accepted my apology with grace. She acknowledged that she understood my anger and pain, and that she knew her actions had caused immense hurt to my family. She also expressed her own regret and sorrow for the part she had played in the destruction of my parents' marriage. That conversation with Lily didn't magically erase all the hurt and anger I felt, but it was a start. It showed me that maybe, with time and effort, I could find a way to coexist with my new reality, even if I wasn't ready to fully embrace it. As I continued to work through my emotions with the support of my family, and even considered seeking therapy myself, I realized that the path to healing and peace would be a long one. But for the first time in a long time, I felt a glimmer of hope that I could get there, one step at a time. So am I in a hole?